Today, I'm putting every single team's top NBA duo into a tier list for the upcoming 2024 season, from the best to the worst. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below on what you guys think. But let's get right into things. Kicking things off with the S tier, you got to start with Nikola, Jokic, and Jamal Murray. Obviously, fresh off an NBA championship. This is the best two-man game in the entire league. They have the best chemistry on any duo on this list by far, in my opinion. And I'm convinced these guys can play together blindfolded. So until I see someone overtake them right now, they have to be the top duo. Next up, I've got Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. Fresh acquisition. Look, these guys are both proven winners, except Damian Lillard. He hasn't won a ring, but he's a proven superstar, all right? And you're pairing one of the best shooters and scorers in the game with the most dominant player in the entire league. Both hungry to win. There's no reason to believe why these guys aren't an ST duo. And in terms of pure talent, they're probably better than Jokic and Murray. But in terms of chemistry and, obviously historically not having played a game together, I can't put them above Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic just yet. But don't be surprised if these guys overtake Jokic and Murray as the best duo in the league next season, because on paper, I feel like they are. Next up, and concluding my S tier, I'm putting LeBron and AD. Look, they were the team that gave the Nuggets the toughest run for their money in the Western Conference. I'm not saying that's an accomplishment on its own, but that's just a testament as to how good LeBron and AD are as a duo. They've obviously proven that they can win a championship together. LeBron last season didn't look like the same player after his foot injury. It's reported now that he's 100%. So with the healthy LeBron, with the healthy AD, knock on wood, they're a fucking team to beat in the West as well. I feel like they're just as good as the Nuggets this season. Yeah, so that's my S tier complete. Next up in the A tier, I'm kicking things off with KD and Devin Booker. Look, talent-wise, they're as good as anyone in that S tier. Obviously, KD's the best scorer in the history of the game. Devin Booker's the best shooting guard in the NBA today. But as a duo, until I see one of these guys actually lead their team to a championship, I just can't put them in the S tier. Obviously, you look at the guys in the S tier. Jokic, Giannis, LeBron, they've all been number one guys on a championship team. KD and Booker can't say they've done the same thing. And despite how talented they are, as a duo right now, they haven't had much proven success. I'm really ranking them based off of their pure talent, so I have to leave them in the A tier for now. Next up, we've got Steph and Klay. Kind of hurts me to put them in the A tier because they do deserve S tier recognition, but the reality is Klay Thompson in 2023 just isn't the same player as he was pre-ACL, pre-Achilles. Obviously, Steph Curry's still an MVP caliber player today, but it's just really dragged down a little bit by Klay, but no doubt they're still an A-tier team. Next up, we've got my favorite team right here, the Boston Celtics with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Look, they're pretty much a lock to go deep in the Eastern Conference playoffs, if not the NBA Finals, every single year. And I feel like every single year, the conversation's the same. Can they get over that hump? Obviously, this season, the Celtics revamped their entire supporting cast because, the core of Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, Robert Williams, they gave him a few years. It just wasn't working out. So now you got Drew Holiday, you got Kristaps Porzingis. This is the best supporting cast the Jays have ever had. And so if they can't make at least the Eastern Conference Finals and have a very competitive 7-game series against, you would assume, would be the Bucks, then that would be a failure of a season in its own right. So we'll see how they go from there. Next up, similar story, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. Nowadays, pretty much a lock to go deep in the Eastern Conference playoffs as well. They've been doing that pretty much every single year, whether it's as a 1 seed or as an 8 seed. It's going to be challenging for them going into next season with the Celtics and the Bucks getting noticeably better, whereas the Miami Heat, they lost Victor Oladipo, they lost Gabe Vincent, they lost Max Strus. Jimmy Butler's another year older, so it's going to be challenging for them as well. So we'll see how they go, but as long as they have Jimmy and Bam, yeah, I wouldn't rule them out completely. Next up, look, these three might be a bit of hot takes in terms of whether or not they actually belong in the A tier. First up, I've got Kawhi and Paul George, man. As I know they haven't remained healthy, together simultaneously in the playoffs, but I really do believe if their entire team is healthy, which is a big ass if, these guys have the potential to go to the Western Conference Finals and perhaps into the NBA Finals. It's just that, can they remain healthy? But the thing is, when they do play together, when Kawhi and PG do play together, they look like a great fucking team. And I think it'll be a discredit to put them into the B tier. But this really is their final chance at going for a championship run. If one of them gets injured again this offseason, they 100% need to blow it up. I was even debating they might have had to blow it up last season, but they didn't go that route, so we'll see how they go. Next up, we've got Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. Pretty unproven compared to the rest of the core, but they've had some nice playoff runs. Jar's obviously as talented as they come. Jaren Jackson Jr. fresh off a DPOY campaign. They've got a nice supporting cast with them. They added Marcus Smart in the offseason. They're getting back Steven Adams in the playoffs as well. So it's going to be nice watching them play. Obviously, Jar's suspended for the first 25 games of the season, so it'll be interesting to see how the Grizzlies stay afloat. But no doubt when this team is healthy and whole, they're right up there in terms of the best in the West. So I've got to put them in the A tier. Next up, this one might be very controversial. I'm putting Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns in that A tier as well. Main reason why is I'm very high on the Timberwolves this season. I genuinely feel like they can finish, and they will finish as a top 4 team in the West. Like, the reason why they weren't as good last season was because they had a shit ton of injuries. Karl-Anthony Towns only played 29 games. They had trouble incorporating Gobert and Towns together. That's not going to be an issue next season. These guys, they've had a full offseason and training camp under their belt. They've played, 20, 29 games, whatever it is together. It can't get any worse than that. You got Anthony Edwards taking a leap. You got the rest of the supporting cast getting a lot better. Jaden McDaniels, he can be a front runner for DPOY. Obviously sharpened their bench, adding Shake Milton, Troy Brown Jr. And Anthony Edwards is another year older. He's going to only get better. He's growing more and more every single day as a leader. So I've got a lot of hope on this team. So we'll see how they go. Might be a hot take right now. Might age poorly, but also might age pretty well. So we'll see. Next up, you know what? Let's go to the bottom tier. Let's go to the ass tier, okay? I am just going to throw teams in there. Look, no disrespect to these guys. Individually, they're very good players, but compared to the rest of the top duos in the league, they just don't stack up against them, okay? First up, I'm putting Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons. Like I said, fine players in their own right, but if these guys are, if anyone in this ass tier, the top 2 players on your team, you're going to have a rough time, okay? And you'll kind of see that trend from the S, A, B, C, and ass tier. S tier and A tier, you got the top of the conferences. B, you're looking at low playoff spots. C, you're looking at maybe a play-in team, and then ass is just ass, bro. So we got Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant in there. Next up, I'm putting, this might be a bit of a controversial take, I'm putting whoever you think their top duo is, really, whether it's Wembanyama and Vassell, whether it's Vassell and Keldon Johnson, whether it's Wemby and Keldon Johnson. You can't really go wrong picking 2 of the 3. Obviously, Wemby's got that hype around him, but if you pick him over one of the other 2 guys, you'll just be discrediting one of those 2 guys as well. So whoever you want to pick, go for it. But they're not proven. Wemby's not proven. And yeah, that's pretty much it, period. Next up, we got LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier. LaMelo Ball, fantastic player, great talent. The Charlotte Hornets as a whole, pretty garbage. So their second best player, I guess, is Terry Rozier. As for Terry Rozier, I feel like he's better suited for a 6-man type combo guard role. He's a bit of a shot chucker, doesn't really play too much defense, and can often shoot their team out of the game. So I love Terry Rozier in Boston, but as a top duo in the league, they're ass, man. No offense. Look, I got to put Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole in that same conversation as well. No doubt these guys are going to have fun next season. They're probably both going to average, Poole's probably going to average 25 to 27. Kuz might average around 22 to 24 points per game. They're going to be fun to watch. They're going to score a lot offensively. They might give it all back defensively. Next up, we've got Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet. I like what the Rockets are doing. I really do. But you're putting 2 inefficient shot chuckers in the same backcourt as your 2 best players, and it just might not end up well. Especially when you got an inefficient Dylan Brooks and inefficient Jabari Smith Jr. starting alongside them as well. So the Rockets, they might be fun to watch at times. They might be ugly to watch at times, but I'm putting them in that ass tier as well. And lastly, again, this is just a comparison between these duos and the rest of the duos in the league. I've got to put Cade Cunningham, and whether it's Jaden Ivey, whether it's Bojan Bogdanovic, I'm putting them in the ass tier for now. Cade Cunningham, I feel like, is going to take a very big step next season, but until I see it, and until his next best player, his Robin, gets a lot better as well, they don't have any business sniffing in that B or C tier. So that's my ass tier for now. Onto the B tier. Might be a hot take, putting Luka and Kyrie in there. Reason being, when we saw them play together, they weren't very inspiring, and they're just not proven. Everyone else above them at least has a playoff appearance together. Luka and Kyrie, as talented as they are, they haven't proven anything yet. So I got to put them in the B tier for now until I see something different. Next up, got to put Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland in there. Very fun team to watch. Very talented backcourt. But when you stack them up against the A tier, against the B tier, they fall a little just short of that tier. So yeah, unless Garland, takes noticeable steps in his game, or unless Evan Mobley comes out of nowhere, starts scoring 20 points per game as well, then I'm putting them in the B tier for now. We got Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. Brunson is an absolute fucking gun. Randle is a fucking gun in the regular season. It's just, yeah, he kind of lets down Jalen Brunson a little bit, but no doubt still a very, very talented duo. The Knicks, they're going to be competitive next season, probably finish as a top 5 seed, but the question mark really goes to the playoffs and whether Julius Randle can perform on the big stage. Next up, I've got Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. I've left James Harden off this list for now because chances are he's probably not going to return, which would make Tyrese Maxey the new star duo alongside Joel Embiid. Embiid, obviously, fresh off an MVP campaign, disappointing playoff exit. Tyrese Maxey looks poised to be a really fucking good player this year, so I'm putting them in the B tier for now. It's just difficult because the 76ers, they can't get over that hump no matter how good of a team they have around them, so until they make a very deep playoff run, I'm not putting them anywhere higher. They're in the B tier for me. Also got to put in De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, fresh off a very, very surprising campaign. I'll be honest, it's going to be hard for them to top that, and I don't think they're going to top that this season, especially with how much better the rest of the Western Conference got. But historically great offense, very fun to watch. They have a tough task cut out for them this season. Next up, I'm putting Zion and Brandon Ingram. They're a tough team to rank, man, because when healthy last season, obviously the Pels were the number 1 seed, looked like a completely different team with Zion, but that's when he's healthy. And nowadays, I feel like you see more of him doing windmill dunks and pre-game warm-ups and then sitting on the bench not playing than you actually see him play. So until I see them get a full season of reps under their belt, they're in the B tier for now. It's just really based on talent. So that is what it is. Lastly, I'm putting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey into that B tier as well. Shai, obviously, people are starting to rate him maybe a little bit too much for his own good. I feel like he's a very, very good player, but there's a lot of people putting him in, the S tier of point guards alongside Luka, alongside Steph Curry, alongside Dame. I don't think he's just there yet, so you got to pump the brakes a little bit. Josh Giddey, I feel like, is a fantastic player as well. He's getting better and better every single year. But, okay, see, they're going to be competitive this season. I feel like if they make the playoffs, definitely solidifies them as a B tier. Even if they don't, I feel like they're a B tier duo, but yeah, they're good, but they're not there just yet. And actually, sorry, there was one more team in my B tier. I'm putting Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. Trae, obviously one of the most disrespected superstars in the league right now. Sorry, stars, he's not a superstar. 3-point shot has fallen off quite a bit. He's never going to play defense, but I feel like this duo, give them more time together, they're only going to get better with a full offseason with Quinn Snyder at the helm. I feel like, yeah, next season they're going to be a pretty fucking solid team. Onto the C tier. Kick things off. We've got Damian, Zach LaVine. Great duo. Rest of the team is kind of not really there. And as a result, they're pretty much a lock for a low playoff seed. Nothing more, nothing less. That's just how they pretty much peaked as a duo, in my opinion. Unless Lonzo Ball comes back and the Bulls get magically better, right? Next up, we've got Miles Turner, Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese, obviously one of the best young point guards in the NBA today. Miles Turner, one of the best 3-and-D centers. It's a very nice duo. I feel like Miles Turner, he's not a second best player on a serious high-level playoff team, but is a fine complementary piece. Got them there for now. Also got Siakam and OG Anunoby. I really do think that the Raptors are going to blow it up after this season. They probably should have done it last season. This core of like Siakam, OG, Barnes, Gary Trent Jr., they kind of peaked already. So they're not going to get much better. I'm putting them in that C tier. We've got Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. I rate them a lot, man, especially Mikal. Averaged 26 points as a net. Cam Johnson, very, very good complementary player as well. The Nets as a whole, I feel like they're going to be a pretty, like a low-key dangerous team. They're going to be feisty. They're going to be a team that no one wants to face, whether it's even if they're a low seed in the playoffs. They're going to be fun to watch. I'm putting them in that C tier. Last two teams, we've got Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. You got the Rookie of the Year. You got one of the most promising young players on the Magic as well. These two are going to grow together. They're going to be a really good duo together in the years to come. Next year, still going to be a bit of a growing year. More competitive. Maybe they'll sneak into the play-in tournament, but they're just not proven enough just yet. And lastly, I'm putting Lauri Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson in there. Lauri, obviously fresh off of an all-star campaign. Great player as a number 1 option on a Jazz team, which surprised pretty much everyone. Jordan Clarkson, you know what you're getting out of him. Shot chucker. Sometimes can win you games. Sometimes can shoot you out of the game. Doesn't really offer much else in terms of playmaking defense. It summarizes my entire tier list video. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? If you guys enjoyed the video, please do like, subscribe, share it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.